Love, live, life. Life can be glorious and hideous. Stick your feet to the ground. Don't think you are counted out. Don't let the wind pull you and tear you apart. Let yourself live freely and love, and you'll be happy. No limits. Just keep on.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another Iron Will podcast with me, Shane Warner, and
John Chase.
So what this podcast is all about is we are trying to get stories from people that have been through a traumatic experience in their lives and came out a different person.
Yeah, they have all created an iron will. So what is an iron will? A burning determination that cannot be stopped or hindered by anything, willing to do anything to get a desired outcome, extremely resilient. So what we like to say is just keep punching.
Yeah. So sit back and relax, and we're going to start the show. So today we have Talisha Bryan on the podcast with us, and how I know Talisha is I actually went to school with her, and she just reminded me we were in the same 5th grade class.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's a long time.
So I don't, I guess she went away for high school and didn't go to Spanish Fork with us. And so I'm just going to pick up right there and let her tell her story from there. So
awesome. Yeah, so we were in the same middle school and junior high, and then halfway through my 9th grade year, my parents locked me up. I was a troublemaker, to say the least. I used to sneak out of my house every night and would drink and started smoking weed at probably 13. And
sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, so they weren't too happy with that. So they sent me away to a boot camp ranch in Cushera, Utah, called Sorensen's Ranch. It's out by Richfield.
Oh, okay.
In the middle of nowhere. So, yeah, it didn't really do a whole lot of good because I was locked up with 100 other kids from all over the United States who had done all this other cool stuff that I've never heard of. Yeah. So now I learn about all these other drugs and how to get away with all this other stuff. So basically $45,000 down the toilet.
Learning about drugs and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep. So I got out and ended up getting into more trouble. My parents put me on an ankle monitor for 4 months when I was 16. And then I ended up moving out. I think I was just turned 17 when I moved out. I moved in with a friend, and she and I got in this fight over something really stupid. She thought something that wasn't true, and we got in a fight. So I ended up moving out and living in my car for 2 weeks while I was taking a CNA and an EMT class. Well, rather than living in my car, she had these friends that were doing drugs, and they offered to let me live with them. So I started helping them sell heroin and cocaine when I was 17.
17.
Yep.
Man.
Here in Spanish Fork.
Were you doing it
Oh,
also?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. And I had a friend that found out that I was doing that, and him and his mom came and rescued me, basically, and helped me get clean.
How long did that go?
About 4 months, 3 or 4 months.
Because it's a short stint.
Yeah.
Heroin doesn't.
It's like 7 days, and you're completely physically addicted. Yeah, and the withdrawal is a nightmare.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, so I got clean, but then we were still kind of messing around. He used to be a meth addict, and I used to be a heroin addict, and I had never tried meth, and he had never tried heroin. So we made this little pact. Oh, well, you try mine once, I'll try yours once. So, first time I ever tried meth, I was arrested and got locked up. I went to juvie for a couple weeks until they had a place for me at Genesis, which is at the old women's prison.
You were like 17
Yep,
at
still
this
17.
time?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like if you would have been a little bit older, you would have had a better chance of breaking that cycle.
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah, because the prefrontal cortex in your brain hadn't even fully developed.
Oh, yeah,
so all your decisions are emotional based. You can't reason.
Yeah.
The reasoning faculty of your mind hasn't even developed.
And
So
maybe that first time on meth getting locked up would have been enough, you know?
It's very possible.
You never know.
Very possible. So I ended up getting out. I was locked up there for, I think, 90 days, and I got out. And I did really well for a while. I mean, I would still smoke weed occasionally, but then I ended up getting pregnant. So I moved in with this guy up to Ogden, and he didn't do drugs or anything. We would just drink occasionally, but I moved in with him, and within a month I got pregnant. And I found out at my 20-week ultrasound that she was going to be born with basically half a heart, a genetic condition. And my parents, I was ready to leave him at that time. Like the day I found out, I was already packed up and ready to move out. But I decided to stay for my daughter, and my parents were moving to St. Louis at the time, so I really had nowhere else to go.
Yeah, right.
So I stayed with him, had my daughter. I mean, I stayed clean for a long time after this because I would, pregnancy, I would never ever do anything like that when I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And I took care of myself, and we were in the hospital a lot after she was born. She had 3 open heart surgeries, one when she was 4 days old, one at 6 months old, and then one at 3.5 years old.
Oh.
When she was...
Can I ask why so many surgeries? Like
So basically, she had basically half a heart. So the left side of her heart is there, but it's so small, and there's so many holes in the middle of it that it doesn't work. So the first surgery, they rerouted her aorta, like basically built a whole new aorta. And then the second surgery, they took the superior vena cava, which goes from the top of your body to the heart and then to the lungs. And they basically just skipped the heart because it's that left side that's not there. So they just rerouted it past the heart straight into the lungs.
That is so amazing.
Literally skips that side. It was insane.
Wow.
I actually got to see her heart when after her first surgery, her chest was open for 9 days, and I got to see her heart pumping up against the clear plastic shield.
That's gotta be
I've
insane.
seen that.
Yeah.
Really?
A guy that I knew had his daughter was born without like the rib cage. It didn't fully develop.
Oh my gosh.
So she had to wear a plastic, thing over it, right?
Yep.
And before they grafted new bone, he let me look at it. You could see right underneath the skin. It was just
insane.
like that, right?
Yeah.
And you could just see the heart beating right underneath it.
So crazy.
Like full shape. You're like, oh.
Yeah, it's insane. It's surreal.
Wow.
But, so yeah, when she was, I want to say 2, I met Adam, and we got married very shortly after. And I found out on our honeymoon how addicted he was to pain pills. And I'd already been down that road, so I was trying to help him stay clean. I would still take him occasionally with him. But then I got pregnant with Bree, my second little girl, and, obviously stayed good during my pregnancy, tried to help him get clean for about 1.5 years. And he went to detox and would just not ever follow through with it. He went to detox so many times. They told him he's not allowed to go back to detox because he would never complete treatment.
Yeah.
So I ended up divorcing him, and then I get in a car accident and shattered both bones in my arm and messed up my back and hips really bad.
What age now?
Let's see. Bree was probably 1. She was just little. So I was 23 maybe.
Okay, still early 20s.
So I feel like getting in a wreck and obviously being prescribed pain pills is like
not a good idea for an addict.
Nope.
Well, did you see the sign? Well, did you see the hard times coming?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
So you knew you were about to go through a hard time.
Yeah. So I was working 2 jobs and also going to school online, plus had a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old that I was trying to take care of on my own. So yeah, it was very stressful, and then I wrecked my only car.
Still in Ogden, or did you move back down here?
No, I had moved to Provo right after my divorce. We lost our house and it foreclosed, and I moved to Provo.
So far, I've lived in all these places.
Yeah.
Ogden, I lived in Elsinore, which is right by Ridgefield.
Oh, wow.
And then, which small, Podunk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? And then I've lived in Provo,
That's funny. So, Yeah, got in the car accident. They started prescribing me pain pills, and I, of course, just would doctor shop and find doctors that would give me more and more because I was taking way more than prescribed. And
Probably
so
selling.
it all went downhill.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did you, in terms of the car accident, do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
Remember the car accident?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So no brain stuff happened. Nope. It was all...
Not at all. No, the only reason my arm was broken is because my little one was crying, and so I had my arm back rubbing her leg because she was crying. And so that's how I broke my bones. And even Lily, my oldest, she'd been in so many ambulances that when the ambulance came, I'm laying there on the gurney, and she's standing behind me. It'll be okay, Mommy. It'll be okay. It was so sweet. So it was like no big deal to her. But... yeah, so it all went downhill from there. I started doing a lot of stupid things. My parents ended up coming to get my kids and took them to St. Louis. And so I went out to St. Louis too.
Did you feel unfit to be a mother at that time? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was still in denial.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
You're
like, no, I don't have a problem.
Exactly.
Like, I can handle this. I can do this. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then I moved to St. Louis and I cleaned up, but I was still in that same mindset, like to get fully clean. I mean, I cleaned up several times, but I was always still that same person, which is why I think I kept falling back into the same pattern.
Yeah.
Because to get clean and stay clean, you need a new personality.
You do. You have to change the wiring in your brain.
And something has to happen, like accident or an overdose or something like that. I feel like that's the most common time for people to get sober is after something traumatic.
Exactly. Yep. So I ended up I got clean. I stayed clean again for a while, but then I got married again, and we just bought this big nice house, my dream house, and was doing great, and we were watching Breaking Bad. And he had never tried meth before. So he's like, hey, can you still get that? And here we're back in Ogden now. And of course, I know plenty of people in Ogden.
I know plenty of people in Ogden that could get it too. Yeah.
So still have the phone number memorized. I didn't even have the number anymore, but I still have it memorized after 3 or 4 years. Yeah. So, I was because my significant other, I've always been very impressionable, I guess you could say. Yeah. So I was like, sure, why not? He'll help me through it. He'll make sure I only do it once.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty soon thereafter, I was homeless and was selling drugs to pay for my habit and to pay for motels or places to live.
Yeah.
So, I was shooting up both heroin and meth at the time. I hated meth, but the only reason I would do it was to stay awake.
Yeah.
Because I would go for days and days at a time, and I was just completely out of my mind, 100%. I was just gone. So I finally, I got some charges and was on the run for a little while, had warrants, and I finally got caught and went to jail. And I did 6 months, and that was basically what saved my life because I don't think I would have made it much longer. Wow. So
where did they?
A blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So it wasn't any. It was like state jail, not
Davis
prison.
County.
Davis County.
Davis
Okay.
County.
Yeah.
I was lucky too. I could have gone to prison.
That reminds me of a Stoic quote: "The obstacle isn't the way, or the obstacle isn't the bad thing. It's the way."
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. It's very true. Mm-hmm. So since then, that was 3 years ago. July 23rd, just this last month, was my 3-year anniversary for when I got locked up. And so I did 6 months, and when I got out, luckily my parents gave me a place to live in Eagle Mountain, which was surprising because everything that I put them through and when I was deep in my addiction, they had to just they wouldn't enable me, which was good because, people, it's so hard to not enable a loved one in that situation.
Yeah. Yep.
But they held their ground, and that's what helped me. And so I knew this was my only chance. Yeah. I knew that they're not gonna keep letting me back in. Yeah. So I stayed there for a couple of months and found a job at Green's Concrete Cutting. And the shop was in Woods Cross. So I had to buy this piece of crap car with no air conditioning in the middle of the summer. And so I had an hour drive to work. Plus I was in treatment down in Provo. So I would have to leave at 3:30 in the morning, I think, to get to work. And then I'd get off about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, sit in traffic for 2 hours in the heat after working in the heat all day. And then go to treatment twice a week, UA 3 times a week. Like, I was running ragged. And